Iran has rejected direct negotiations with the United States regarding its nuclear program. This decision comes as no surprise to many international observers. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian cited a history of broken promises by the U.S. He demanded concrete actions to demonstrate trustworthiness before any direct talks could occur. The rejection underscores the deep-seated mistrust between the two nations. It highlights the significant hurdles that need to be overcome to achieve a diplomatic resolution. The U.S. under President Donald Trump has taken a hardline stance against Iran. The Trump administration withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal. It imposed crippling sanctions on Iran. This approach has further strained relations. It has fueled a climate of suspicion and animosity. Iran views these actions as evidence of U.S. hostility. It makes it challenging for Iran to engage in good faith negotiations. The international community has expressed concern over the escalating tensions. The potential for miscalculation and conflict in the region remains high. The lack of direct communication channels exacerbates the situation. It increases the risk of misunderstandings. Iran's rejection of direct talks is a setback for diplomatic efforts. It underscores the urgent need for confidence-building measures. The U.S. needs to take concrete steps to address Iran's concerns. This includes demonstrating a genuine commitment to dialogue and diplomacy. Until then, the prospects for a negotiated settlement to the nuclear issue remain dim. Iran's mistrust of the U.S. is deeply rooted in historical grievances. These grievances continue to shape Iran's perception of U.S. foreign policy. One defining moment was the 1953 U.S.-backed coup that overthrew democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. This event instilled a sense of betrayal and suspicion that persists to this day. The 2015 nuclear deal, formerly known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, offered a glimmer of hope for improved relations. However, the Trump administration's withdrawal from the deal in 2018 dashed these hopes. The U.S. withdrawal and the subsequent reimposition of sanctions were seen by Iran as a breach of trust. The U.S. argues that the JCPOA was flawed and did not address Iran's ballistic missile program or its regional activities. However, the deal was widely seen as a significant achievement in non-proliferation. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, repeatedly verified Iran's compliance with the deal's terms before the U.S. withdrawal. The legacy of these past events continues to cast a long shadow over U.S.-Iran relations. Iran's demand for proof of trustworthiness is directly linked to this history of broken promises. Building trust will require a sustained and genuine effort from the U.S. to address Iran's legitimate concerns. This includes respecting Iran's sovereignty and engaging in diplomacy based on mutual respect. Despite the rejection of direct talks, Iran has indicated a willingness to engage in indirect negotiations. This could potentially provide a pathway to de-escalate tensions and find common ground. Indirect talks would allow both sides to communicate their positions without the pressure of a face-to-face meeting. This approach could be crucial in the initial stages of rebuilding trust. One of the key sticking points in any negotiation will be the issue of sanctions. Iran has maintained that the U.S. must lift sanctions as a precondition for any meaningful dialogue. The Trump administration's maximum pressure campaign has crippled Iran's economy. However, the U.S. insists that sanctions will remain in place until Iran meets its demands. Finding a mutually acceptable solution to the sanctions impasse will be essential for progress in any negotiations. One potential approach could involve a phased lifting of sanctions. This would be contingent upon Iran taking verifiable steps towards addressing concerns about its nuclear program. The international community has a vital role to play in facilitating dialogue and finding a diplomatic solution. The European Union, along with other world powers, should continue to engage with both the U.S. and Iran. They can encourage a return to the negotiating table. A multilateral approach that addresses the concerns of all parties involved will be crucial for achieving a lasting and peaceful resolution. The recent formation of a new transitional government in Syria adds another layer of complexity to the U.S.-Iran relationship. Syria is a key regional ally of Iran. The new government's composition and policies could potentially influence the regional balance of power. This could have implications for U.S. interests in the Middle East. The U.S. has been critical of Iran's influence in Syria. It has accused Iran of supporting terrorism and destabilizing the region. The US will be closely watching the new Syrian government's stance on Iran. They will be looking for any signs of a shift in Syria's regional alliances. The future of US-Iran relations remains uncertain. The rejection of direct talks highlights the deep mistrust and the significant challenges that lie ahead. The possibility of indirect negotiations offers a glimmer of hope. It remains to be seen whether both sides can seize this opportunity to de-escalate tensions. The outcome of any future negotiations will have far-reaching consequences for the Middle East and beyond. A diplomatic solution is in the best interests of all parties involved. It is essential for regional stability and global security. The international community must continue to encourage dialogue and diplomacy. This will prevent further escalation and pave the way for a more peaceful and secure future.